Okay. And we live. Okay, sharp. So yeah, today, what are we talking? So we're probably going to start with this. We're probably going to start with the South African Reserve Bank. They released their meeting date for the MPC. The MPC is the Monitoring Policy Committee. The committee meets every 2-3 months. 2-3 months to decide the interest rate, whether it goes down or it goes up. Because previously though, I mean last year they met and they pretty much dropped the interest rate every time, because the interest rate, if you look at it, started at what 7.75 at the beginning of the year. 7.75. No. Yeah. In fact, they started cutting in January. Like the first meeting, they cut 7.75 in December 24. And then in January, first meeting, hey, 7.5. Which is great. Which is great for consumers, right? Yeah. But the repo rate, what does it mean? What does it mean? I'll try to go live on TikTok as well. Let's see if we can go live on TikTok. No, not that. My goodness. So that's what it is. I think you only have. Okay. Okay. I keep distracting myself here somehow, somewhere. I'm gonna go live on TikTok as well. But the messed up thing about TikTok is that you can't share your screen, and it's nice if I can share my screen, But they logged me in there. They just said full experience unlocked. I don't know what that means. I've been going live for a while, but they've been blocking me every time because I share my screen like I'm doing right now. So let's see. TikTok. All right. I was talking about the South African Reserve Bank. They're gonna meet 6 times this year. 29 January, 26 March, 28 May, 23 July, 23 September, and 19 November. And when they met last year, they pretty much dropped the interest rate every time, because the interest rate went from 7.75 in December 2024 to, the first time they met in January 30. They cut 25 basis points to 7.5%. So, and they cut it all the way to I don't know, someone is inviting me to co-host here on TikTok. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that right now. So yeah, I was saying they drop the interest rate every time. All the way to 6.75. Right now it's at 6.75, right? Which is great. And what does it mean? The repo rate is basically a benchmark, right? So the repo rate is like a benchmark that people use, or the banks use, in fact. Like for example, the Reserve Bank is the ultimate lender, right? For banks, is the ultimate lender. So there is FNB, Standard Bank, ABSA, they all borrow from the Reserve Bank. And the rate that the Reserve Bank uses when they lend money to them is the repo rate, right? Yeah, and then that repo rate is also used as a benchmark when the commercial banks are now borrowing to Abantu. So let's say if it's at like 6.75% right now, like it is. So, and then you have figure and I say or Taban or Funi loan, that 6.75% is gonna be used as a benchmark to pretty much structure a loan for you. So then they're gonna add 5%, 6%, 7%, depending on the riskiness of you as a thing, as a debtor, right? So, for example, if you're a risky person, no, I call it to Zach, they're gonna put like 10% on top of everything, or on top of your of the 6.75%, and then you end up paying what 16.75%. So that's how the repo rate is used, right? And then as to how it relates to investing, it's pretty much like the for people it works the same, for businesses as well it works the same. So I mean, I'm a businesses, they also pay debts. I mean, credit pretty much revolves around everything that has to do with expenditure in the economy. So picture this for you: if umuntu and you're a person and you're paying like 2.5 per month on all of your debts, like your debt repayments is like 2.5, and then the interest rate are new with like 1% or 25 basis points, doesn't matter, it's not that much. What's going to happen is that your interest rate is going to go high. I mean, your debt repayments are going to go high, right? Simple and straightforward. But then if conversely, if interest rate they drop, your interest rate or your debt repayments are going to go down as well. So it's the same for companies. So when you're investing and how it affects your investing process. Hi everyone. Hi. How you doing? Hi Cherry. Hi Mlunge. I hope I'm saying it right. Hello. How you guys doing? So in this channel or in this account, these are people on TikTok. Chat on TikTok. So we're talking about investing, and we're talking about finance, and we're talking about business. So if you guys want to join me, please, it would be lovely if you got time. Join me on YouTube on it's at Investing Pot, right? So that's where I'm streaming. So I was here on TikTok, but they suspended me here. They kicked me out because I'm actually sharing my screen by fit. So if you got time and you got YouTube, just go to Investing Pot. I mean, you can go to my account. The link is there. You'll see the link to YouTube, and you can pretty much stream in there. I just started. If you want to join, I just started, and we're gonna go for like 2 hours or so, and we talk about investing. And today, I wanted to cover we buy cars. I wanted to cover Tiger Brands. I also wanted to cover the Venezuela thing, like with Trump and everyone. Who else did I want to cover? So yeah, and a pretty range of topics, pretty much everything that affects investing. And right now, I was discussing the 6 dates that the South African Reserve Banks are gonna meet, right? And then I was saying how it affects your investing is that it's the same as it does for you as a person, right? If the interest rates go up, your debt repayments go up. So it's the same for companies. And then for companies, the thing about it is that for companies are valued based on their cash flows, like how much cash they retain, not even how much cash they generate. A company can generate a lot of cash, but you find that they don't retain a lot of that cash. Why? Because they are over indebted. So what then tends to happen is that those cash flows that are used to value a company, they shrink, right? Because they have to repay it back to the banks and everything else. So when the cash flows shrink, consequentially the value of a company also shrinks. And then what you'll find is that if the value shrinks, that means the share price is gonna go down, right? That's how it affects your investing. But it's not a straightforward relationship, because there's a lot of things that affect investing, especially when you're valuing a company, right? Because it's not just the interest rate payments. There's stuff like capital expenditures as well. And companies are different. Like there are companies that require a lot of capital investments, and there are companies that don't require a lot of capital investments, right? So those are all the things that eat away the cash flow of a business, and consequently how you value a business. It can go from being valued to 70 rands to 55 bucks, simply because there's something eating away the cash. And that's how interest rates relate to investing. So they're gonna meet 6 times next year, which is 29 January. When is 29 January, in fact? pretty close. It's pretty close. Isn't it crazy that soon January will be finished? And then your first salary goes to repaying all the debts equivalent to what to January. 29 Jan, 26 March, 28 May, 23 July, 23 September, and 19 November. So yeah, we will see. But what's the state of South Africa? Like right now, like last year they cut a lot. Last year they cut a lot, and the stock market gained a lot last year. But it was really boosted by gold stocks like mining companies. So mining companies did very well last year, right? And there's a reason for that as well. We're gonna discuss it, Masasfiago Trump, and then we're gonna talk about silver and gold and stuff like that because yeah, that's the sort of stuff that kind of moves around the market. But this year we will see. But with interest rates this low, I mean, it stimulates investing. It stimulates my companies. I'm sure everywhere you walk around, you've seen my buildings rising on pretty much in every suburb or every suburban area. If you go around, even if it's not suburban, but that's how you see. Like if big companies are constructing, like you see more building and more skyscrapers in the city. That means money is cheap, and right now, like the interest rate is like 6.75, and it was hiked during COVID. They brought it all the way down to what was it during COVID? They brought it all the way to 3.5. So it's almost like right now it's double COVID levels, which is not a lot, right? Comparing to where we were, but it got to 8.25 in May 2023 because of inflation. Like there was a lot of inflation because of all the stimulus that was put in the market during a COVID. Yeah, kumbula ma 350, even 350. Yeah, in America they had stimulus checks, and they were spending them, investing them in the stock market. There was even fraud, I think, in America with triple P loans and stuff like that. So there was a lot of money in the market during that was printed during COVID, right? Hi everyone, hi. Ora marope. Dintang. How's it, Buffett? Thank you for the like. You can join me on YouTube, Buffett. I'm actually on YouTube, right?